preservers that are labeled storage lockers in the aft section of the vessel on the main deck, and there are some of the aft seats in the upper deck. Please do not tamper with them as they are for emergency use only. In the unlikely event of an emergency, a uniformed crew member will distribute the assistant dining of life preservers. Instructions for their use are located in
Chicago native, born and raised here. I've been here for the last 44 years straight. Whatever you've been doing for the last 44 years, I've just been waiting for you. Pockets in, they call it the Hot Pocket building. That arch on the bottom is an inlay for a train line that goes underneath it. Those circular holes you see in the wall there, all exhaust fans for that train line. And like I told you, most of the buildings around here built in just the last few years. But the next building I'm going to point out to you is the oldest building I have to show you on the river. City within the city. Apartments up above, valet parking down below. But inside the building, stores, restaurants, fitness center. Used to have an ice skating rink in there, still has a bowling alley. Used to have a movie theater, which is now the House of Blues. Marina City, an introvert's dream, right? You can live your whole life without ever getting out of your pajamas in a building like that. It's very popular for folks to live downtown today, but it took architects like Bertrand Goldberg to get people down here. They call it Marina City because there's a place to park your yacht, which was very surprising in the 1960s because this was still a very polluted waterway back then. You would want to spend a lot of time on the Chicago River in the 1960s. Today, that's all changed. If you take a look over to your left, you can see we've added about a mile of new shoreline to the city with our river walk. It's a great example of a pillars that you push back real hard on those great big heads. A big hunk of candy comes out of their necks. And that's a Pez joke. There are jokes on the tour, just be warned. Now that's a lot of building. 2 full city blocks of building. If you took all the office space in 7 and spread it out, it'd be over 14 football fields of office space. Building so big when it first opened, it had its own zip code. As we come up underneath the next bridge, running paths up there, walking trails, multiple basketball courts. And those are just some of the amenities you have to provide to your employees to get them to come back to work after COVID. And I know it sounds like a joke, but I'm being sincere. Because when it comes to high-end office space, it's still pretty low. While companies shut their doors, we didn't need a post office this big anymore. This building sat vacant for about 2 decades. This is one of the most amazing examples of adaptive going up and down to allow for larger boats. Now, as we do the turnaround here on the south branch of the river like we did on the north branch, we're going to take another break on our tour. Once we come back around the corner, that's a good time for you guys to get up out of your seats, come to the front of the boat, and take some photographs of our skyline. We've got a nice long wind up before we get back into the more interesting buildings. Feel free to come up and ask. Once we get into the once we get into the more interesting buildings, get back on the mic, and we'll continue our tour. Thank you.
It's a really nice car.
Celery, salt, and mustard. There's only one thing we don't put on a Chicago-style hot dog, and that's ketchup. You will catch hands if you ask for ketchup. Skip it while you're in town. The bottle's waiting for you at home. If you're looking for a good place to get a Chicago dog, not too far from where we drop you off, there's a restaurant called Portillo's, where they have a great Chicago dog. They also have a great chocolate cake, which they will throw into a shake for a chocolate cake shake at Portillo's. Now, as we head back towards Wolf Point, keep in mind all the bridges we're passing under, still movable bridges. Lake Street here in front of us, a double-decker, double-leaf bridge. Opens up on both sides of the street, bottom deck for cars in Cloud Gate, but nobody in Chicago calls it that. We all call it the Bean. That's right. Fun fact about the Bean, the artist who designed it hates that we call it that. So keep it up, everybody. Here's another piece of public art for you. The Merchandise Mart. What am I talking about? Well, on the other side of the river from the Merchandise Mart, you'll see this big black box full of projectors. If you come by here after dark, they project art onto the surface of the Merchandise Mart. It's a free public art program. They do it twice a night. They feature different artists throughout the year, and they call it, get this, Art on the Mart. Give that guy a raise, whoever came up with that one. You see the big black box full of projectors out there called fish hotels. Back in the 1970s. Back in the 1970s, they tested the river. They figured out we had about 10 species of fish living here. They checked again recently, we have close to 80. So it's a great example of how the river is getting cleaner and healthier. Now, as we're back on the main branch of the